So once again, we have here the definition of ATP, adenosine triphosphate for ATP, where this is the energy carrier of every cellular activity present in the human anatomy. Without the ATP, energy is absent in a cell, thus no activity that will be done in the respective cell. And each of these organelle contains a phosphate bond, and this phosphate bond carries the energy. The hydrolysis of the triphosphate will then liberate one inorganic phosphate to release the energy. And that's where the ATP becomes ADP. To get a clear picture of the structure of ATP class, because you notice the globular structure is more like an atomical structure of an ATP. So this is the structural molecular formula of an ATP. We have here the composition of ATP. There are three of them class. First of it is the ribose sugar. It's a pentose sugar or five ring sugar or five carbon ring sugar or pentose sugar called ribose. And then we have an amine group. Amine group or the amine group name there is the adenine, and then the 3-phosphate group, which is connected to the ribose sugar. Notice the structure. Memorize the structure because maybe you'll never know. I will be giving you a question on how the structure will be drawn. Look at the oxygen of the phosphate bond class. Since phosphate only has five covalent bond possible, four of the oxygens there are anhydrized or they don't have hydrogen. Just like the ribose sugar wherein there is an OH. So that oxygen will complete its octet rule at 8 valence electron to have two covalent bonds. Maximum covalent bonds of oxygen is 2. But since you only have one for oxygen here, which is the link between phosphate and oxygen, so we have there O then minus. Notice there the O minus, which means there's an excess of one electron, or rather there's a need for one electron. So oxygen there should receive one electron so the molecule will be stable. That is why it is easy to hydrolyze ATP to liberate the energy from the one carried by the ATP. So what does ATP do to your body class? It supplies you with energy. With the presence of an ATP, you can perform any activity present. Just like a certain program, let's say we have leadership training. We sort of stop for a moment for everyone to have a snacks to revitalize ourselves or to resupply ourselves with the energy that we need, because during leadership training I so miss leadership training. During that activity we have multiple events that will either give you something to learn or give you some problems later on, like torn or tattered jeans or whatever, no? This is true to all living things. ATP is true to all living things. Even plants do have the ATP then. Even plants needs the ATP to perform the so-called photosynthesis, their own cellular respiration. The energy that is brought by the ATP class will be liberated once the bond between the three phosphate group will be hydrolyzed. What do you think so is the reason, where do you think or what helps in hydrolyzing the bond of ATP class to become ADP and inorganic phosphate? In our previous lesson, this is accompanied by an enzyme. In particular, to help the ATP hydrolyze, to help ATP to be hydrolyzed, that is acted by a catalyst known as ATP ACE. It's like ATP then add ACE. It's like that. The name is ATP ACE. Yun. That is a molecule that will help in synthesizing that will help in hydrolyzing an ATP molecule to ADP. But from an ADP, it will go back to ATP once it will bond to another inorganic phosphate. And the enzyme that helps in uh, the synthesis of an ATP to become ADP is an ATP synthase. The term synthase helps in the synthesis, or the other term for synthesis is dehydration. Dehydration of a certain molecule uh, to become an energy carrier again, which is ATP. But we will not term here dehydration because the term used by your book, and I think it is also in your module, it is synthesis. But still, the process involves eliminating one hydrogen in the molecular structure. Thus, the term is dehydration. So that's ATPase and ATP synthase. I hope it is, I don't know if it is found in your module class. So by breaking the energy, by breaking the bond between the last two phosphates, uh, the energy that is carried by the bond, the energy is in the bond itself, class. So when the bond is being broken by hydrolysis, then the inorganic phosphate is liberated, and then the energy there is released, giving the cell the energy it needs to function, and whatever process that cell will do will be carried out by energy brought by the ATP. Here's the hydrolysis process. It's the action reaction done by the ATPase, which is known as the hydrolysis. Hydrolysis means if you're going to uh, add water to the molecule, the last two bond between the last two phosphate bond will be broken, liberating the inorganic phosphate or the last phosphate bond. And then upon the breaking of the bond between the last two phosphate, energy is also liberated. No? It's like a fuse between the bomb. When you untangle the fuse and then you remove the connection between these, then the bomb will just simply explode. Huh? Just like this one, when the connection between the last two phosphates will be cut, then the energy there will be liberated, so as with the last inorganic phosphate. And then the process there is hydrolysis, which is acted by an enzyme known as ATPase. Here, guys, we have an enzyme. Marag siya may dok-dok, no? Here, ATPase. The name of the enzyme is ATPase. So we have, that is a cycle, class. That's a cycle. So starting from an ATP, the ATP will be hydrolyzed to become ADP, so that the energy from the inorganic phosphate will be liberated for the cells. Once it goes down as an ADP, it is less energized. Wala siya battery nga energy, so kinahanglan pa nimong i-recharge. Recharging means adding an inorganic phosphate to the bond between the last two phosphate to become a triphosphate, and that bond will carry na again the energy. And the reason behind the bond there is because of an enzyme to synthesize the bond known as ATP synthase. Here we have there the reverse process that occurs for putting up one other energy to the bond between the phosphate group. Consider the last two phosphate group in the ATP. It is acted by the ATP synthase, and this is the ATP cycle class. So from the ATP, the ATPase will act upon the hydrolysis to liberate the energy, and that energy will be used up by the cells. Then comes now the liberation of one inorganic phosphate become the molecule of AT now becomes ADP. With the action of an ATP synthase, the ADP will be bonded with another phosphate to become ATP, and it is now carrying the energy that the cell needs. And this energy is from the food that we eat, from the molecules, the biomolecules in particular, the macromolecules, especially the carbohydrates. But question class, which of the four macromolecules carries most of the energy that we need? There are four of them, right? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and fats and lipids are the same, and nucleic acid. Between the four, which carries the which carries most of the energy that we need, class? We have a chat here from Miguel. The answer is fats. Correct. The answer is lipids or fats. Okay, I think somewhere in the frame here, there's a number of ATP from one triglyceride, or if that is present in your module, that is 80 plus something or 140 plus something. Because in one glucose unit for a carbohydrate, there only exists 36 ATP. Now net, the gross there is 38, but since glycolysis needs 2 ATP, so the net ATP for every glucose unit is 36 only. The same with protein. Similar number of ATP from the lactic fermentation of protein. Take note, uh, when you run out of sugar, your body will use the fats for energy. But if you run out of fats, then your body will use up the proteins. Mo ng mga stranded sa mga island nga walay kaon, they look quite thin because their body itself use the proteins or the muscles itself for the use of energy. You know, in a term called lactic fermentation, lactic acid fermentation. No? What will be used first? Fats or fats, Miguel? It will be fats first. And then if all the fats are consumed, then the muscles will be not very basically muscles, but the proteins in us. No? Whichever the body will get from these proteins, most of them are really taken from our muscles for the energy that we need. During a cellular respiration, our body needs energy, and this energy is carried by the ATP. For us to perform the bodily actions, this is the responsibility of this is for our ATP, and this ATP is produced in the mitochondria, especially in the mitochondria. No? That is why the mitochondria as a cell is labeled or tagged as the powerhouse of the cell, because this is the area where um, the next to glycolysis happens, citric acid cycle and electron transport chain. I have here another presentation which will talk about more on ATP. So this is a more clearer picture on the ATP ADP structure. This is the structure of an ATP. Um, the left side is an ATP, the right side is an ADP. Notice the left side has 3 phosphate groups, whereas the right side you only have 2 phosphate groups. The oxygen in the second phosphate group has a hydrogen, and during the so-called dehydration, this hydrogen will be replaced by a phosphate group. That's the dehydration process, which will be acted by an enzyme known as ATP synthase. So your clue then again for an ADP, you have 2 phosphate group, and ATP, 3 phosphate group. This part here is the amine. This is the amine part. Remember in general chemistry 2, amine amides, the functional group for an amine is NH2. And then this is the pentose sugar or the 5-carbon sugar known as ribose. Okay, so here we have the production of plants for their own energy, as they are called autotrophs, so they can make their own energy. But we need this food for our own, for us to have a source of energy. And those who can make their own food are termed autotrophs. But as human beings, we cannot make our own food. We cannot just simply bathe ourselves in the sun and then receiving already the energy from the sun because we don't have chlorophyll to begin with. But maybe Hulk can do that one, no? Maybe because of the chlorophyll in the skin of Hulk. Is it chlorophyll? Let's have a review of ATP class. ATP again is defined adenosine triphosphate. We have the structure of an ATP, the components of which are the following: the 3-phosphate group, the ribose sugar, and the adenine group, or the nitrogenous base called adenine. With ATP as it's like a fully charged battery, no? But with the liberation of a phosphate group comes the ADP, which means you have a double phosphate bond. Comparing it to the ATP, you have a triple phosphate bond, but in ADP, you only have a double phosphate bond. It is energized, but less of the energy. Um, of course, the energy there is used by the molecule itself, but not to energize one cell to another. It has the energy to come up with another bond between another inorganic phosphate so that it will become again another ATP. Huh? And the structure of ATP is uh, a double bond, a bond between two phosphate groups. So we have here the comparison of ATP and ADP. Much like the energy being released, and then the energy being released is the liberation of one phosphate group. But if you're going to store the energy, it's like adding one phosphate group, which in which is why we have the cycle that we learned a while ago from ATP to liberating one inorganic phosphate, releasing the energy from the bond between the last two phosphate, which is acted by the catalyst known as ATPase, and from the ADP, which will bond with another inorganic phosphate to carry out the energy again or to bring the energy back to the bond between the two phosphate groups or the last two phosphate groups, which is acted by the ATP synthase. And this follows the rule in the laws of conservation of energy class. Huh? In higher physics, we call it the law of thermodynamics. Energy can be created nor destroyed. It can be transformed from one form to another. And the for example, you are going to what I this always happens to me every time I am done with my um, meal break, like lunch, dinner, or even a breakfast class. Every time I eat my meal, I end up sweating. I don't know if you sweat after you eat, but I end up sweating. It's probably because my metabolism is fast, and also this is one key ingredient of the food chain or the food pyramid. The food pyramid tells us that the most number of energy comes from the first trophic level, mostly the producers, grass, um, fruits, vegetables. And then when this food will be eaten by the animals, then the transfer of energy from the grasses goes to the animals, but it's only 10% of the energy from the food that they eat. The other 90% there is just simply converted into another form. And that form is known as heat. So if we need really the energy that we want to get from the food that we eat, I suggest we eat vegetables, fruits and vegetables, because it has the most number of energy that we need. Huh? But of course, then again, as our taste buds dictates us, mas lami man gyud tong humba nga baboy, no? Aritas baboy, no? Bahala nag energy, right? So, here class, this is what I did mention a while ago about the comparison between the total number of ATP produced per glucose molecule And one glucose molecule in a carbohydrate just gives you 36 ATP. But in one triglyceride molecule, it will generate 146 ATP. Imagine the comparison. It's like 300% increase between the one glucose unit and one triglyceride molecule. But of course, the immediate source of energy, the energy that we need in an instant is supplied by the carbohydrates. If you run short of sugar, then that's the time we need the fats in our body. But bear in mind that the absence of sugar in our human anatomy will give us complications like nausea, dizziness, and even 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 the idea of being suffocated, it will ergo turn into makulaps ka. It will somehow, worst case scenario, it will go to that point then. So we still really need the sugar in our body. And proteins, on the other hand, is likely to be broken down with the same number of energy as compared to carbohydrates. Notice the last bullet there for protein, about the same amount of energy as a carbohydrates for protein. Energy is represented by joules, right? The unit of energy is joules. And joules, conversion of joules to calories, it can be the like 1 calorie is 4.1 joules. So in a certain tetra pack of food, you notice the energy present from each food that you eat, and it is in terms of calories. This is one of the features of the nutrition facts found in some of your food packs. Like for example, I have here a Kopiko. I was about to drink it before our class. So the food content here is the total fats is 3 grams per serving, and this is on the calorie content. 3 grams of it is fats, then 1 gram is protein, and then carbohydrates is 25 grams. So it has a lot of sugar. That is why this food has more of the energy that I need to sustain my nightly activities like making such modules, and of course, not to mention my other mobile gaming activities, no? Especially Raisa on the evening and Crisel. So online in the 1 p.m. now, which I am about to play as well. Never mind, so much for that. So we have here the last the last the last part there, class. The last part is the 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 purpose why we have ATP, class, because some of the molecules that will pass in our cell membrane needs an energy, the active transport, no? Without the energy, molecules from the low concentration cannot go to the high concentration. Except for passive transport, it can be done. From high concentration to low concentration, passive transport can do it. But for an active transport, take note that the molecules from low, they will go to the high concentration. And it cannot be done by the law of nature. Higher goes to lower. That's the concentration gradient. But because of active transport, that these molecules should go to the high concentration area, so it needs the energy from the ATP. And that's one of the many, well, that's one of the many functions of ATP in our body, class. Not to mention that what we are doing right now, what I'm doing right now is talking, consumes a lot of ATP in my muscles. Huh? As we discuss the muscular system as well, we will come in contact with the ATP ADP cycle. When we talk about the muscular system, the I don't know if you recall, I don't know if you are familiar with the so-called sliding filament theory, how our muscles will contract. ATP should be present there. Huh? It is the last part. Question for our discussion, class. When we look at our module, wait, our module is just short, which all of the contents in the presentation are found there, except for probably, this is also part ATP decomposition or hydrolysis and ATP synthesis, um, energy absorbed release. In activity 2 class, can you submit in advance para it can be checked in advance as well? What you'll do in activity 2 is to color it. Let's go back. Let's get back our childish side in us. Huh? You color the ATP with green. You color the lightning. You color the lightning bolt purple. You color the ADP blue. You color the phosphate yellow and the likes. So let's bring back our child in us. No, much like answering. So much for answering. Let's get on the other side of the activity, which is color colors, no? Because our lesson is easy then, so when to pass it. Anytime that you wish to pass, you can pass this one. Anyway, the checking of the module for biology is on a Wednesday. Para when we check our module, we just have to check activity 1. And what is activity 1? What is energy? Use the module. Number 2, true or false. Number 3, you just compare and contrast ATP and ADP. You can just draw the Venn diagramming again. Like, what is their similarity? They have the same sugar. We have the same nitrogenous base. But the difference, 3-phosphate, 2-phosphate. High energy, low energy, something like that. Just present it in a Venn diagram. And the structure of ATP, no need to redo this one. The structure of ATP and ADP was given already in the presentation. I only have here the structure of ATP class. This is an ATP structure. The ADP just replace the third phosphate group by a hydrogen. That's the structure of an ADP. So remove OPO, no? Remove OPO and then change it to hydrogen. Because that's the part where the synthesis comes in. Dehydration of the molecule results to anhydrizing hydrogen to come up with the bond between the oxygen to the phosphate group. And then number 5, which type of macromolecule is this is also found in the PowerPoint presentation. Would you like to get access on the PowerPoint presentation as well for review purposes? Okay, I'll send it as well in Edmodo. Okay, question class. Clarifications. So that is our lesson, the last lesson, which is quite short for pre-finals. Congratulations for surviving. We're almost done in our first semester. One more semester and you are already a college student. Huh?